Hey everybody, so if you play Alter, which is my new house, you may have saw that there is a mayor system. Basically, if you go inside here, you can vote for a mayor. So basically, actually I'm going to turn off visibility real quick. There's 4 different mayors here, each give their own stats. You can go up to them and vote, and their vote counter will go up. And at the end of the in-game year, so once this hits the next hour, a new one will be elected, and the active text will change, and depending on the one that was voted, then the benefits will be given out. You can also see which mayor has won the most times, as well as how many elections has passed. So in this, it will include like a voting system, but the main thing, of course, is mayors and housing, which I think is super cool. So I'm going to show you how you can do that in your own house. So we have a little setup here. We have a text that says the current mayor. This is just a hologram that has a global stat mayor. We have different mayors here. We have Steve with a little description, text, and a number. Now, I'll explain all these in a second, but there's 2 more NPCs, Alex and Santa. We have also given them each a number, so Steve is number 1, Alex is number 2, and Santa is number 3. And over here, we show the wins for each one. So before we go onto the code, I'm going to show you real quick. So in each one of these guys is a hologram on top. We have the name, the description, and inside here, so how we have the changing text based on color, we actually use a global stat. So we use the and sign and where you would put a number for different colors, but we use a stat. So what we're doing is the and sign and then stat.global/Steve active. Then we make it bold with and L and just put the active text. Then we use some more colors just to make it fancy. And we use stat.global/Steve votes. So right now it's black because just black is the default color if you don't have a stat set. Now, this is the exact same thing with these guys. The only thing different is the ID of or I guess the key for the global stat. So here, instead of Steve active, it's Alex active. And instead of Steve votes, it's Alex votes. And real quick, for Santa, we have Santa active and Santa votes. So now we're going to get started with the code. So go to your housing menu, go to house settings, and go to functions. We're going to create 3 functions. The first function we're going to call announce mayor. The second function we're going to call new mayor. And I'm sorry, we actually only need 2 functions for this. So we're going to start an announce mayor. So just open up your announce mayor function and follow what I do. So I'm going to have a little base for you guys to follow. However, this can change to basically whatever you want, as this is the message that goes out to everyone when a new mayor is elected. So I'm going to do some fun things. I'm just going to play a sound. We'll play the orb pickup sound. We'll also have some send messages. So this, I just have some ready on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in. Basically, what I'll say is that there is a new mayor, text in between, and then we're going to have some conditionals. So inside these conditionals, we're going to go in conditions, add a condition, global stat requirement. We're going to check if mayor is equal to 1. So this mayor value is how we'll know which one is currently active. So mayor number 1 is Steve, 2 is Alex, and 3 is Santa. So let's go back into that and we'll continue where we left off. So inside of here, we check if mayor equals 1, which means that Steve is currently active. Then we'll just send a message, basically just kind of continuing where we left off, saying there's a new mayor, saying that Steve won the election. Then we'll do another conditional. Here, instead of checking for Steve, we'll do mayor equals 2. This would be Alex. And we'll just send another message. Again, I have these on the side, saying that Alex won. Then we'll have a final conditional for Santa. Basically in here, we'll just check if mayor is equal to 3. Which, if it is, then we'll go inside here, send a message, Santa won the election. And now, then these 3 will only show depending on the winner of the election. So now we can just continue with the main message by just putting like a little closing text at the end. So when a new mayor is announced, which we'll get into how this code actually runs later, we'll let everyone know there's a new mayor. Then depending on the mayor, we'll send another message telling everyone the new mayor, and then we'll just close it off. And we'll just play a sound for fun. So we are done with that. We're going to go back into our functions, and now we don't have to continue with announce mayor anymore. We can go to new mayor. Oh, real quick, I want to point out, you can do this with multiple mayors. You'll have to think about it a bit more. I'm obviously not going to do it with like 10 mayors to show you how you would do it with 10 mayors. I'm just showing you with 3. But it is possible to do it with 4 or 5 or really as many as you want. It'll just require a bit more thinking, but if you do need help, you can ask in the Discord. So in the new mayor function, you're going to follow what I do. So we're going to create a new action. This will be a global stat. We're going to change mayor to 0. So when we're calculating the new mayor, we're just going to reset it to 0, which you'll see a bit why later. And then we'll also set Steve active. Now, so this is the variable that determines the active text. So we're going to set it to 4. So the color code and 4 is a dark red. So that means when this happens, the active text on Steve will change to red. And then we'll do this for all of them. So we'll do one for Alex active, set that equal to 4. Another one for Santa active, set that equal to 4. And then from there, we'll start doing some conditional. So we're going to check the votes now on the NPCs to determine who the actual mayor is. So we're going to open a conditional. Inside these conditions, we're going to check if Steve votes are greater than stat.global/Alex votes. We're going to do another conditional in here where we check if Steve votes are greater than stat.global/Santa votes. So what's happening here is in this conditional right here, we check if Steve is currently winning the election by checking if his votes are greater than Alex's votes as well as Santa's votes. Then from there, we'll just set the mayor to 1. So as you can see, mayor set 1. And again, Steve is mayor number 1, so that's where we're setting mayor to 1. So I'm going to do this 2 more times for each mayor. So we're on a new condition, but instead we'll do Alex, oh, sorry, not Alex, Alex votes greater than stat.global/Steve votes. And another conditional where we check if, Alex votes are greater than stat.global/Santa votes. So same thing as Steve, but we're checking if Alex is winning the election, as in their votes are greater than Steve and Santa. So we'll set mayor, set that to 2. So finally, where we actually decide who wins the election, we're going to do a final one for Santa votes. Check if it's equal then, greater than stat.global/Steve votes. And another one to check if Santa votes are greater than stat.global/Alex votes. Which, if it is, then we'll set mayor 3, because that is what Santa is, mayor number 3. So in 3 conditions, we check who is winning the election and sets the mayor variable to the corresponding one. So what would happen if all the mayors have an equal value, or if Santa and Steve are tied, or Santa and Alex, basically whatever. If 2 mayors are equal, or they're all equal, then what will happen? Well, we're going to have another conditional, and we're going to check if mayor is still equal to 0. Now again, we set mayor to equal to 0 at the beginning, and we only update it if someone is winning. So if that value has not been changed, then we'll first check that. And then in here, we'll just set mayor to one of the random mayors, to one of them. So because there are 3 mayors, we're going to do random.int 1 4. So this will choose a number between 1 and 3. I know it says 4, it's just the way housing works. It really just takes this number and subtracts 1, so it's really choosing a number between 1 and 3. And these are using placeholders. If you didn't know, if we do /placeholders, it shows a bunch of different placeholders we can use in our house. So back in here, again, we just choose a random mayor, 1 to 3, so Steve, Alex, or Santa. So we got a bit of a repetitive part here, but we're going to create a new conditional, and now we're going to check who won the election. So if the mayor equals 1, meaning that Steve won, we're going to increase Steve wins, increase by 1, and we're going to set Steve active equal to 2. Now again, we're setting Steve active so that this active text will be the color code 2, which is a dark green. So everyone else will be red and Steve will be green. And the wins will also determine these wins over here, which I forgot to show. I think I didn't show, but anyways, these are just stat.global. Alex wins, Santa wins, or Steve wins. So we're going to do that again for all of them, so I'm just going to go a little bit quicker here. So if mayor is equal to 2, which means Alex won, then we will set Alex wins, increase by 1, and set Alex active, set that to 2. And then we'll do this again, another conditional, where we check if mayor is equal to 3, which means that Santa won, then we will do, wins increase by 1, which is already by default how it is. And then we'll do Santa, we'll set Santa active, set that to 2. So it'll be green again, once again. Okay, so now we're increasing all the wins and visual stuff to see who is actually active. But finally, in the new mayor, and we are almost done, I promise, one final conditional, and it actually has no conditions because we're just going to go to the if actions. Now, if you don't know, you can only do 5 change stats in a function. This is annoying, and it's easily bypassable just by creating a function, going to the if actions, and the if actions will run if no conditions are met, or if there's no conditions at all. So we're just going to continue our code in here. We're going to add a global stat. We're going to increase election. I know we haven't touched this at all. Election by 1, and you'll see why we need that. We're going to set Steve votes equal to 0. So we're resetting it, so allowing players to vote for the next one. We're going to set Alex votes also equal to 0. And finally, Santa votes also equal to 0. And then to end it finally off, we're going to add a final action, trigger a function, and this will be announce mayor. So when a mayor is chosen through that function, then we'll just broadcast that for everyone. Oh, and I think I might have forgotten. New mayor, go in here. You're going to want to trigger this for all players. So we're almost done. Now we just have to make it so when you actually click on the NPC, then you'll vote for them. So this is very copy and paste. So I'm going to do this for Steve and then show you how you would edit it for Alex and Santa. Because it's literally just one thing. But I'll show you how to do it with Steve. I'll show you how to edit it for Alex and Santa. But I'm not going to show you me adding it to all these guys. We're going to shift right click, or whatever I guess it works. Go to click actions, and we're going to add a action. We're going to add a conditional, and we're going to check if the player stat vote election is equal to stat.global/election. So here we're checking if the player has already voted this election, which if so, we'll just continue running. Otherwise, which if so, then we'll just continue running the rest of the code, which will happen soon. Otherwise, we're going to both continue the rest of the code, but what we're also going to do is change mayor vote, which determines who the player voted for, and this is a player stat, by the way. We're going to set this to 0, so they don't have anyone voted, and we're going to set the vote election to the current stat.global/election. That way it doesn't get confused if you're just changing your vote. So now, a little bit repetitive here, but it's relatively easy to follow along, so just try your best. Okay, so now we're going to add a conditional, and inside the conditions, we're going to check if mayor vote is equal to 1, which it is. Then that means you voted for Alex. Voted for Steve. So let's just decrease 1 from Steve's votes. And then we'll do this for all of these. So we'll do another player stat where we check if mayor vote is equal to, that's already by the default, equal to 2, which if it is, that means you voted for Alex. So let's change Alex votes, decrease by 1. And then a final conditional for Santa where we check if mayor vote is equal to 3, which if it is, then we're going to go in here and remove 1 from Santa votes, decrement 1. And now, so what we're going to do is copy this for all the NPCs. There's a little bit at the end which you will change, which I'll show you right here. I am not going to show this for all the NPCs because it's just very repetitive, and I like to keep my videos relatively short. Basically, we're going to create a change player stat. We're going to set mayor vote equal, or set it to 1. Now, 1 would mean that we are voting for Steve. So when you're doing the code for Alex, change this to 2. When you're doing the code for Santa, change this to 3. And then, depending on who you're voting for, so I'm voting for Steve here, or I would be clicking on Steve, we're going to increase Steve votes by 1. Now, in this global stat, if you're setting this up for Alex, then change this to Alex votes. If you're setting it up for Santa, change this for Santa votes, or whatever your mayors are. And then we'll just send a little chat message that says, voted successfully. And just kind of for fun, we're going to have a play sound that plays I'll just do or pickup. So now I'm just going to cut to a part in the video where I have this set up for all the NPCs. Again, just make sure the change player stat mayor vote is set to the different mayor's number and increase the certain mayor votes by 1, but obviously Alex votes and Santa votes. I just finished coding these guys. Only difference, again, is mayor vote is 2 for him, and in global stat Alex votes we increase by 1. And same thing with Santa, but instead mayor vote is set to 3, and Santa votes are increased by 1. So I quickly created an NPC here that's just titled new mayor, and it will run the function new mayor. And I'll tell you in a second where you would actually put this. But we can now go up to any NPC. So let's say we want to vote for Alex. Then you can right click on Alex. The votes will go up 1. It'll say voted successfully. And if we were to vote for someone else like Steve, then Alex's votes will go down 1 and Steve votes will go up 1. If we were to vote for Santa, then Santa's votes will go up 1 and Alex's votes will go down 1. We can spam on it. It won't do anything. We can spam over here too. Santa's vote should go down and Alex's vote should go up. So, well, the active text is not green, it's not red, it's still black. So, when a new mayor is chosen, we can click on this guy. So, again, Alex should be winning this election because they have 1 vote compared to the other 2. So, it'll broadcast the message to everyone else and say, congrats to Alex on winning this year's. This is just the same text as my other house. I just kind of copied it over. But now, if we go over here, then you'll see none of them have any votes. And you can see that Alex is active because it has that green text. We can go over to Steve. We can go over to Steve. Votes will go up 1. We can have a new election. There we go. Steve is now winning, so wait for it to update. Votes have been reset. Steve is now green. Current mayor is number 1. Steve has won 1 time, and Alex has won once. And I quickly just added the election text here, so we just have the election text, and when we just stat.global/election, I just used a capital N, I don't know why. So we're on election 2, that makes sense. We click this guy 2 times. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to show you how you would just kind of use this in your own house. So when would the new mayor function be activated? Well, this can be up to you. Whether you have a timer using my timer tutorial, or maybe every hour using a playtime, something along that lines, or maybe it's completely manual. That's up to you. It will require a bit of thinking, but if you do need help, you can ask in the Discord. Now, how would I actually use the perks of the mayor? So let's say maybe Steve did something, Alex did another, and Santa did another. Well, you can check the mayor number. So let's say you had a room that required Steve to be active to enter. Then when you enter that region, check if the global stat mayor is equal to 1, which would let him go in the room. Otherwise, kick him out. I hope that makes sense, but basically you're just checking the active mayor using the mayor global stat to determine if they are allowed to do stuff based on the perks. So in Alter, my house, one of the mayors gets increased foraging XP. So if you were to chop down a tree and that mayor is currently active, then we just check if that mayor is active through the global stat mayor, and if it is, just give a bit more XP. But yeah, that's it for the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you can use this for your own house. I'm excited to see what people use the mayor system for. I think it's a super cool concept, and it can be used in all sorts of houses, including simulators, RPGs, or really just whatever. Quickly, I want to let you guys know that school has started up again for me, which is not only really sad for me, but also means that content will come out slower. Streams have already been changed to weekends only. House updates, Discord updates, and YouTube videos will also be posted a bit less often. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. That's going to end off this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.